So I just wanted to remake this tutorial. There were a few issues with the last one, and so this is the best way that we're going to make a simple rig quickly. So in front view, let's do Shift A. Let me add on my screencast keys. Okay, Shift A, add an armature. And when we drag that up, we can't see it. So over here, you can go into X-ray mode. Click that little guy. This is the armature data. Go X-ray. We don't need names or anything, but now I see it. I'm going to tab into edit mode, and now I can, right now, when the bone is selected, the whole bone is highlighted. When just the tail, you can drag that tail up, drag the base up. So this will be kind of like our butt. This is kind of like our chest. This is a little neck, and then this is a head. And notice I'm extruding on the Z axis, so I hit G and then Z. And then I'm going to split the view. Close that toolbar, and then 3 on the number pad, so I can see things are a little off. So let's bring the butt back. That's kind of where the stomach. That's fine. I'm going to just grab that tail and that head. Okay, that's good. So now with your right click, if you switched your clicks, you can move your target. In edit mode, if you do Shift A, it automatically adds a bone. I'm going to grab that tail and just move it down, and then hit Z. So there's about my knee, and then I'm going to just slide this over because I just want to extrude straight down. That does create some problems, so let's fix it now. So bring that back to the ankle, that's our knee, and then let's bring that back to the butt. So we're giving it a little bit of a bend anyways, so that's good. So on the tail of your ankle, extrude out, and there's your foot. So here's where, well, let's just name it real quickly. Let's just start naming. So in your bone properties, you know, they have like nameless things like bone 006, and you can't symmetrize unless you name these bones. So I'm going to name this foot.L. And then I do, this is my naming convention, I do leg up.L, leg low.L, because it's like not many keys to type. Then this is we'll call it butt, chest, neck, head. Okay, so those are, we were gonna have to name some more, but anyways, we're getting started. So now we want to make our controller bone. So here's where you have to do a couple steps that are they're not very intuitive, they just come through practice. So I'm going to extrude out on that ankle on the Y, and this is going to be a handle for us. And by default, it's parented to those bones. So I'm going to let go and clear the parent with Alt-P. And I know the parent is cleared because when that bone is selected, it free floats now. So I'm going to let go, leave it there, and I'm going to turn off the deform. So it's 2 steps when you're making a controller. Make sure it's not parented to anything and clear the deform. But I want this foot to roll with it, so I'm going to parent something to it. So it's not parented to anything, but I want this foot, so I have that selected, and I'm going to select the bone and parent it to it by hitting Control P, keep offset. So now that foot is connected, and if I rotate it, I see the relationship lines, those dotted lines, but it's not doing anything because we have to be in pose mode. So now when I rotate, I see the foot rotating. Since we're in pose mode, let's make the IK chain now. Let's get it started. I have this controller selected. I'm going to shift select the calf and hit Shift I. So Shift I to active IK. And now I have kind of a leg going. Let's finish up the arms. So go back into edit mode, and I'm going to hit Shift A and then just drag that to the elbow, extrude that. So that's the forearm, and then this could be like a hand. And I'm just going to name those arm up.L, arm low.L, and hand.L. Oops.L. Okay. So when we go into pose mode and I move this butt is like our root bone. When I move this, I kind of want this to control like him squatting and jumping. So I'm gonna have to parent, like, and same with the arms. I want the arms to follow. So let's parent the arms to the chest. So I have the up arm selected, and then shift select the chest and control P, keep offset. And now we can start seeing in pose mode, like the arms will follow. If I do that though with the leg right now, so select the leg, shift select the butt, keep offset, I see the relationship lines, but there's going to be a little problem. So when I move it, it's not squatting the way I think, and that's because the chain length of that IK, because now the parent is running from this bone to this bone to that bone and up, the chain just goes all the way up to the top of the head. So select your IK bone, which is that yellow one, go to the bone constraints, and let's set the chain length to 2. So now it's 1, 2, and if I select that, now it's doing pretty well. But the foot is hopping off, right? So to clear everything, Alt-G and Alt-R sets your bones back to where they were. So I'm going to put a constraint on this bone. You have to be in pose mode to add bone constraints. If I'm in edit mode, that little bone constraint option disappears. So pose mode, there's our bone constraint option. Add a copy location. I want it on my armature, and I want it on my this bone, which is leg low.L. But I don't want it on the head of the bone, which is the knee, so I'm going to slide that to the tail. And now, when he jumps, the foot follows. Even when the foot leaves this, I can still rotate this on the X, and it still follows that. So I'm going to clear everything with Alt-G, Alt-R to make sure all the rotation's cleared. I have everything named. I know I'm going to need a knee, so I'm going to go back into edit mode, side view, and if I just click this target, I'm in edit mode, Shift A, and I'll just have that pointing out here. So this is a controller bone. It's not parented to anything, but I need to turn off the deform and the bone constraint, and I also need to name it knee.L, which will allow us to symmetrize this. In front view, it seems lined up, and let's go into pose mode to set our knee as a pole target, and it's probably going to flip it backwards, but it's always different, so we want knee. So yeah, now when he squats, his knee goes the other way. So let's just have him in a squat position. Select your IK and just change the pole angle. It looks like it needs to be just a 180. Okay, but his knee will follow. So I'm going to select all the bones, Alt-G, Alt-R, and now we can symmetrize because we have everything named. We have all these links, IK chains, and pole targets set up, so it's perfect time to symmetrize. So armature, symmetrize, and now we might have to make one more adjustment. When he squats, Alt-G, Alt-R, grab that butt, and because we turned it 180 on this knee, it's going 180 on that, so it's these pole angles, they're just something you have to play with, but I usually find it's in 0, 90, or 180, or negative 90 that you're spinning it. So it's usually in degrees of 90. But now we have everything ready to roll. We have the deforms turned off on the knees. So let's just parent our body, and then click shift click your armature and control P, and we'll go down to with automatic weights. And now our armature is almost ready. Everything was working great. Okay, but we need a master control bone. So I'm going to go back into edit mode. And my cursor's off floating here. I want the cursor to center. So Shift S, cursor to center. Shift A, added a new bone. In front view, I see the bone. Let's go to side view. I'm going to hover over that new bone and hit L and just rotate it, and then move it and scale it and kind of just make it like that. Okay, so I need this butt, which right now this butt is like controlling everything. All parents kind of lead to this butt. So when I move the butt, the arms and the legs follow. However, these controller bones will not follow. So the butt, I need to, in edit mode, I have the butt selected, and I have this new master bone. Let's even name it master bone, or like master control. So I have my butt selected, then the master, and hit. You know what you could do, select all the bones you want to parent to that master control. So the butt, and these controller bones, and these knee controls, and then final, you click your master control, and if I hit Control P, keep offset, all of those got now parented to that master bone. So my torso still works, these still work, but when I move this master bone, the whole object will move. If you get tired of seeing these dotted lines, you can, once your rig is pretty well set, you can turn those off in display. If you hit N in your properties, I believe in display you have relationship lines. You can turn those off. And we really won't need to see these, like, these, we'll call them leg up bones, and these feet bones we won't really need to see. So I'm just selecting some bones I don't really think I'll be using much. We might use those as back, but with the bones you don't need to see, just select them all and hit M to move them, and just move them to a new layer. And where they went, oh, and we don't need these calves, so move them to a new layer. And in your armature setting, you have the layers you're looking at. So here's layer 2. We could even just consider that like hiding not needed layer. And now these are like the bones that are really gonna control my mesh, and it just helps keep it cleaner. But my mesh is working. Okay. The thing that you can do is you could change the look of these bones so it's a little easier to visualize, like the knees could be spheres, and we'll do that in another episode.